What's good, everybody? What is good, and how's everybody doing? Man, I love that beat. My homeboy is I played it yesterday. My homeboy used to be an R&B singer. Doesn't do it now, but he's in Texas. I mean, well, I'm talking about Texas. He's in Cali, and we went back out there and kicked it. But man, that dude can blow, and he always got the great instrumentals. So I'm gonna get some more instrumentals from him. Man, that's just a mellow beat, and I really like it. But hey, let me just be rude and say what's up to everybody that's in here. Gambino, Boothang, of course, Texas Twister, Jop, Dre the Great. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Dre the Great, who to bring back and who they can afford to lose. We will talk about that in a moment. Get on in here, Thurston Howell the Third. I love the name. Come on in here and jump on in, and let's talk about this defensive line, because this defensive line is in flux. If we're looking at one of the biggest needs right now, we're going to say that defensive line, because as we know, going into 2019, it was hella free agents getting ready to go into 2020, and now it's upon us. You got guys, I mean, really you have just what, D. Law, Dorrance Armstrong Jr., Tristan Hill. They got the kid Justin Hamilton, Joe Jackson. I think who else do they have? They got another. Do they have anybody else that are under contract right now? Because everybody else is out of contract, and they are going to need some help for sure. You get what I'm saying? The Cowboys are going to need to really address this defensive line, and this is the year, personally, that they're really, in my opinion, they never really make splashes. The biggest splash that we saw was with Amari Cooper And we saw that happen when they spent the first round pick. That was out of the ordinary. And even getting who we're about to talk about here in a minute, Robert the Mighty Quinn. Number one, I prayed for the Robert Quinn to come over here. And like I said before, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but as soon as Miami was talking about just a little bit him not being there, I was on the Robert Quinn saying, man, Dallas, get him. Man, Dallas, get him. He is going to be so good. I wrote a nice piece, an article about DeMarcus Lawrence and Robert Quinn, how they could be a nice 1-2 combo. Obviously, DeMarcus Lawrence didn't have the sacks that we wanted, but he still had a very good year all around. It's not just about sacks, and we're going to compare him to some of these guys that are making that big money. He's not that far off, especially since he didn't play 80% of the snaps like some of these other guys that got the big sacks. So when you really look at DeMarcus' year as a whole, yes, the sacks were disappointing at 5, but we'll talk about he had the surgery. Hey, ho, Juwan James with the $10 holla. Come in with the donation. What's good, everyone? Juwan, I love you, dog. You know how to bring that flame and fire, and you always smacking me with big bills. That's what you do. But everybody was saying that DeMarcus Lawrence, he got fat and off the contract, and he got lazy. I just don't believe that. And then when you compare him to a lot of the other top defensive ends, his numbers weren't off. You had a Calais Campbell who went to the Pro Bowl. DeMarcus Lawrence were pretty much identical, if not better, and Calais Campbell only had 6.5 sacks. DeMarcus Lawrence had 5, but he went to a Pro Bowl. So while we're dogging DeMarcus Lawrence, he had the same pretty much stats across the board than Calais Campbell, and Calais Campbell's in the Pro Bowl. You get what I'm saying? So I say we ease off a little bit, but we're going to dabble into it because they really need to address this defensive tackle. I'm going to talk to you and bring out my boy's book who I had on yesterday. Marcus Smith, Boss Cowboys. I'm telling y'all need to go check out this book. I'm going to refer to some things right here while we talk about some things, but that book is fire. You need to get on going to Amazon, and you need to type in Boss Cowboys free agency. It'll come right up, and you need to grab that book. It's not expensive. It is nice. It is thorough. It is everything that I love because I am a person that loves to read, and that's my homie. You feel me? So I'm going to support him like no other. But I'm telling y'all need to go grab that book and that guy because I'm going to bring out some of the stuff in the guide today because it was so damn good about the tendencies where Mike McCarthy drafts, and he does draft defensive tackles, okay? He does like the defensive tackle position. He has drafted it. So you can see them going that after the draft or in free agency, which I think I want to say that they're not going to make a splash because they like the bargain basement guys. They love that. But I would have no qualms with them getting the guy that I really want, Jordan Phillips. But let's talk about a guy right quick who I say the Cowboys cannot afford to lose. But they may, and it looks good that they will, unless they really come with some cash, is Robert the Mighty Quinn, who was just talking about. What's good, Stephen Arthur? How you doing? Okay, my bad. Let me turn it up. Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me better now? Tell me, can y'all hear me a little better now, Bobby M? Can you hear me better now? All right, cool. Sorry about that. Apologize. But let's talk about somebody who they can't afford to lose right now. That's Robert the Mighty Quinn. Like I said, I prayed for him to come from Miami to get over to Dallas. I was like, is Dallas really going to jump out there and get this guy? Are they really going to do it? But because this was like a Super Bowl window year, it felt like when they're trying to get to the Super Bowl, they're going to put all the chips in. They're going to do everything they can. So when they said that there was talks, I knew they were going to get him. I just knew they were going to get him because there's not a lot of people that turn down Dallas once they come to the facilities and they see it's the Cowboys. You saying? People hate on Jerry Jones and the Cowboys or whatever, but players don't. Players come and see that facility. Coaches come and see this facility, and they are honored to come to the Cowboys. So I knew when the Cowboys jumped out there, they were going to go after him. But look at these stats of Robert Quinn. And he missed the first 2 games of the year with that bogus suspension. But we're looking at 34 total tackles, playing the defensive end. He's not a run defender. He's not the greatest run defender. He's a pass rush guy. He will stick his nose in there and run defend, but he's not the greatest. He was getting There was so many times that he was going outside the edge, didn't set the edge properly, and he's never been a big run defender, but he's been a sack guy. 22 quarterback hits. Obviously, we had the 11.5 sacks, which was nasty. And you missed 2 games. 2 forced fumbles. 35 QB pressures, huge. A lot of people always want to look at the sacks, and they always want to talk about the sacks, but QB pressures are just as big. If you're getting that quarterback off his spot, if you're rushing that quarterback on his throws, you may not have got the sack, but you pressuring him, getting him out of his rhythm, incomplete passes, that is still big. We all want the sacks from the defensive ends, especially if you're paying them the big money. We get it. We know it. But QB pressures are huge, and he had 35. DeMarcus Lawrence went far off of that. 12 QB hurries, 11 QB knockdowns, and he played 60% of the snaps. That's a pretty damn good season, right? You can't afford to lose him. Now, when they're talking about the market value on Robert Quinn, what I'm hearing is $11 million or more. What I'm wondering is are Dallas – I know they're all in on Quinn. Jerry Jones has been staunch in saying he's all in on Quinn when they're talking about who would they choose between Robert Quinn and Byron Jones. It's been Robert Quinn. They are all in on Quinn. They want to have him come back, but there's going to be other teams that are going to go after him as well. I mean, he's a defensive end. He's 29 years old. He's not old, but this is probably going to be his last contract, and I think that's what's the issue is going to be with possibly signing him long-term. A 2 or 3 year deal would be great and give him some good money, but there's going to be some other teams that are going to jump out there and probably try to offer him even more. And at the end of the day, he's going to still want to be a starter, which he will definitely be a starter in Dallas, but he's going to want to get paid because this is probably going to be his last contract. You're 29 years old going on 30. This is probably your last deal unless you're just one of those people that like a Dwight Freeney can play till you're 38 or 39 years old. This most likely will be your last contract. So you have to get paid, and they want to get paid. So that's the only thing I'm worried about. Some other teams jumping out there that got cap money and they have a need at defensive end, and they don't want to worry about going with the rookie. They're going to come after Robert Quinn. It's not like he's chopped liver. He's had big sacks. He's had 19 sacks in the season. He's done his thing. A down year in Miami, but you were playing in Miami. You get what I'm saying? You're playing with the Dolphins. But when you're seeing what he's brought to the table now, it's going to be a little nerve-wracking. I really do not want to lose Quinn. Because when we talk about the other players that the Cowboys have on board, I just mentioned Dorrance Armstrong Jr., Joe Jackson. Who else they got? I mean, Tristan Hill. I mean, who are the defensive ends? We can't count Randy Gregory right now because he's still in limbo. You get what I'm saying? So they don't have that starter opposite of DeMarcus Lawrence if Quinn is gone. And if you're pushing somebody out there, then that's when maybe a Tyrone Crawford, we'll talk about him, maybe he becomes prevalent. But I say save that money and get somebody that can really help the team now, or cut Crawford and put that money into Quinn. Do something, but you got to keep the mighty Quinn. I know a lot of y'all agree with me on this one. Yeah, that CBA they're talking about doing lessening the penalties for marijuana, which they should. Come on, man. No problem, Bobby M. But, yeah, I know we're all going to be – I know we're all in on Quinn, are we not? Let me get some answers. We're all in on Quinn, right? We can't afford to lose Quinn. Come on. I know we're all in on that. Let me see here. Hey, ho, John Jones with the $2 holla. Appreciate you, big dog. Yo, it's coming through, supporting the nation. Love you for life. You and, my God, Juwan James. You know how to do. But let's check something out right here. What I was telling y'all about my guy, Boss Cowboys. So under the Mike McCarthy regime, under his drafting, his first-round picks, we don't know if the Cowboys are going to keep this first-round pick. They may trade up, trade down. We'll see what happens. I say trade down unless you get one of them guys so you can get picks. But if you're looking at the Mike McCarthy regime, starting from 2006, his first-round picks, he's taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say three defensive tackles and 4 defensive ends. 3 defensive tackles, 2 defensive ends. So you had Justin Harrell, defensive tackle from Tennessee. We all know about BJ Raja. He was a first-round pick as well. His First-round picks, defensive end, Nick Perry, pretty decent. Dayton Jones, we know about him. He's with the Cowboys, but we never got to really see what he could do with us. And Kenny Clark, defensive tackle as well. So you see that he does draft the defensive tackle position. And also you'll see that some of his other picks have been safeties, Clinton Dix, Demarius Randall, Jair Alexander, scooped him out right before he left, which has been a great pick. Got a couple offensive tackles, Derek Sherrod and Balaga, who have pretty good careers. Clay Matthews was a linebacker he drafted. A.J. Hawk, they have pretty good careers. So defensive tackles, B.J. Raja, I like B.J., but it looked like he just, when he retired, I was like, come back so the Cowboys can get him. So when you look at his draft across the board, he likes defense. If you look in the first round of his players, it's a lot of defense. Not a lot of offense. He does love the receivers. We know he loves to pass the ball, but we see that Mike McCarthy does like defense. So we can be hopefully rest assured that he is going to go after defense in this draft, especially when you have a whole new staff of Mike Nolan, Tom Sula, all these guys that are coming in the fold. You guys definitely want to make an impression on the defense, and from the way you're seeing he's drafting there, you can see that blueprint is going to happen as well. So that's why I have hope that they're going to get somebody in free agency, because they don't want to have to rely on any rookies. You saw what happened with the Tristan Hill experiment. It didn't look good. We don't know what's going to be happening with him this season. So at the end of the day, they're going to have to grab somebody in free agency this year, either at the defensive end or defensive tackle. They're probably most likely going to draft another defensive end and probably not go a defensive end in free agency because they have a plethora of those. They don't have tackles. They'll probably re-sign Antoine Woods, but they don't have tackles, and they don't have the fat boys that we've been wanting. I've been wanting fat boys. I've been screaming the fat boys. I've been singing the fat boy song. The fat boys are back. And they can never be whacked. It's time for us to get some fat boys, and it's time for them to get some production as far as some beef up in that middle. And this is the time to do it, because this is a hellified, crazy good defensive tackle free agency. And there's some guys that are not going to cost you a lot of money and are the fat boys, and we'll talk about them in a second as I get to them. But one guy, as I said, you cannot lose is a Robert Mighty Quinn. I hope they can figure that out. I don't know. They wouldn't franchise him because he's too old, in my opinion. But hopefully they can figure that out, because I just really feel that some teams are really going to go hard at him, and they're going to make it tough for the Cowboys to re-sign him. What up, my Cowboys family? How you doing? So, can't lose Robert Quinn, right? That's one of the guys we cannot lose. Now, we're talking about some other people we cannot lose. There's none but him, okay? Now, let's go to the guy that everybody's been kind of getting on and dogging. I don't know why. Why are we dogging this man? DeMarcus Lawrence. A whole bunch of people been going ham. Oh, he done got fat. He got his big contract. Oh, he ain't all this. All he do is talk, and he don't never shut up. I can't lie. I love when D-Law talks, but toward the end of the year, I didn't want to hear any of it. I'm going to keep it real. I love listening to D-Law talk. He gives the great interviews, the sound bites, all that good stuff. But toward the end of the year, I didn't want to hear none of that crap. I didn't want to hear no Hot Boys. I didn't want to hear no Purge. I didn't want to hear nothing. I just wanted to see production on that field. So if you look at his stats for this season, 45 total tackles, 16 QB hits, 10 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 29 QB pressures, 13 QB hurries, 10 QB knockdowns, plays 62% of the snaps. That's not a terrible year. And then, as I said, if I want to bring up some other guys that can compare him, DeMarcus Lawrence is making, almost $17 million as his base. Frank Clark is the highest paid. He had 8 sacks. I can go to his stats, and they're almost comparable to Marcus Lawrence. J.J. Watt is right below him at $15 million. We know he was injured, so we can't really count him. Olivia Vernon, he's about to get cut. He might be a salary cap casualty with the Cleveland Browns. I mentioned Calais Campbell. DeMarcus Lawrence had better stats pretty much across the board than Calais Campbell. He just had a 1.5 more sacks, and he went to the Pro Bowl. Joey Bosa, animal. Can't say nothing about him. 11.5 sacks, and he was a great run defender as well. That's the thing that we want to talk about. Some of these guys that get these sacks are getting 14, 15 sacks are one-trick ponies. That's what they do. They don't do anything else. Melvin Ingram was another dog. I think he had 6.5 sacks as well. So there wasn't a lot of guys that are on the defensive end position that were getting those big plethora of sacks all the time. So, yes, we do want more because of what DeMarcus Lawrence signed for and what he's getting paid. But we can understand that he is a person that the teams do scout. They do say, hey, this is a guy we need to stop. If we need to chip him, if we need to put a tight end on him, if you need to chip him with the running back, this is what they're going to do. And he was seeing that. And also, one of the biggest keys right now, and this was, to me, Cowboys' fault. Because when DeMarcus Lawrence got that 14.5 sacks, they said, you know what? That could have. We saw you get 8 sacks in your second season, but we want to see more. You know how the Cowboys are. We want to see more. We want to see you do it again one more year. All right. So what did DeMarcus Lawrence do? He willfully and happily said, "Okay, I'll take the tag. I'll take the franchise tag. I ain't made no money. I'm gonna go ahead and get my 1 year of 17 mil, whatever he signed for. Got another 10.5 sacks." And he says, "I want my contract. I want my money, and I want to get paid." Hey, you know how they do. We don't know if you're this guy. We don't know if you're that guys. And they delayed and played around, played back and forth in the media. We saw what happened, how he delayed the shoulder surgery. It was the big talk of the town. Then they were talking about where they're going to sign D-Law. It's just a big much to do about nothing for no reason. And guess what? You still signed him to all that money, and you delayed the shoulder surgery because he said he wasn't going to do it. He didn't do it. And then when he does get the surgery, you don't have no kind of training camp. You don't play in no preseason games. And you hit the ground running. That doesn't happen. We got to give him props for having that surgery. And he had multiple ailments during the year, but 16 games played, 16 games started. You get what I'm saying? You don't have players who don't have no kind of training camp, no kind of preseason, and you're playing defensive end. You think those guys are just going to come in and just start getting sacks, 2-3 sacks a game? That just doesn't happen to me. So I think people just need to back off. I think when you're getting this new staff, Tom Sula, Mike Nolan, I feel like they're going to bring the best back out of DeMarcus Lawrence, and we're going to have another 10-sack season. I think DeMarcus Lawrence is going to have another 10-sack season. He's going to get a lot of tackles again. Every single year he's getting around 45, 50 tackles a season. And, he's a great, great run defender. That's one of the biggest things that you love about D-Law is that he's not just a sack person. He's a multifaceted player. And you want that, okay? You want that. And let's keep it real. This is probably DeMarcus Lawrence's last contract with Dallas. Let's probably keep it all the way real. He's 27 now. I don't know if he's going on 28. His contract ends 2024. This is probably his last deal, at least with Dallas. I don't see them re-signing the 30, 31-year-old guy, and that's when we'll talk about Tyrone Crawford. But while he's here right now, I definitely feel like he's going to have a bounce back, if that's what you want to call it, season, as far as the sack production goes. But if you, like I said, you look out all around of his game, not bad at all, especially when you compare him to his peers at the defensive end position that are making the money and playing the position. See what y'all saying about that. You know we love them fat boys. So please, let's lay off DeMarcus Lawrence, okay? Yes, I've already talked about that, Juwan James. Juwan James says, I don't know about how y'all feel about this, but I wouldn't mind giving us Victor Beasley a shot if we lose Quinn, and if the money is right. I definitely agree with that. The day that Victor Beasley actually, I posted on my Twitter, and then I posted on my Big Game James page the day that they said that they were not going to go with Victor Beasley anymore. First thing I said was, look at this dude for your replacement for Robert Quinn if Quinn does not get re-signed. And he's a younger version. He's had some pretty good seasons. I think he's 27 years old, so you're going to get a younger version of that, and you can sign him to a 1 or 2 year deal. And as Juwan says, if the money is right and it's not going to kill him, and think about it, Victor Beasley coming to Dallas, if you lose a Quinn, you think Victor Beasley's going to say, oh, I see Dallas, I ain't going to stay here. No, he's going to probably have open ears and eyes to the Dallas Cowboys. So that is definitely an option at the end position for the Cowboys. That's one of the guys I said Cowboys look at because you're going to need to replace somebody. If you don't have somebody alongside DeMarcus Lawrence, and we're going with Dorrance Armstrong Jr., who I do like his talent, but they're not proven. Joe Jackson, they're not proven, okay? And that's a scary thought that if you have one guy who's already getting double teamed and you don't have somebody the opposite of him, that's why we were loving Randy Gregory when he came back, and they had a great combo. But right now, he's still in limbo. You get what I'm saying? We saw what Robert Quinn does. When you have two bookends like that, it makes your team better. And when we're talking about having the all-world corner, when you said the Byron Jones and what about corner, I said, just like when you said if you're keeping a Robert Quinn or a Byron Jones, I always say you go with that defensive end over a top cornerback because that pressure is going to get to that quarterback. You can have a great a great cornerback, but he can only cover so long. He can only cover so long. I don't care how good he is. And if they're not getting pressure up front and you're a great corner, eventually you're going to give that ball up. Your people are going to complete passes on you just because it's going to happen because you're not receiving that pressure up front. So the best thing you can do is get that pressure up front because you can have average cornerbacks play better because that pressure of that quarterback getting that ball out quicker than he wants to, now guys can make plays on the ball. So the Cowboys have to figure out a way, like I said, if you don't get a Robert Quinn, to put somebody right beside this guy, DeMarcus Lawrence. Because the guys right now that they have, it's a little nerve-wracking. We got another guy who we're going to talk about right here. This is a guy I thought was going to step up. I saw him in training camp. I was excited about him in training camp. He looked great in training camp. I was thinking that, you know what, he can take the next step and take the next leap, and I'm really looking forward to what he can do. Didn't really materialize. Only played 24% of the snaps. Dorrance Armstrong Jr., 14 tackles, 4 QB hits, 1 tackle for loss, 2 sacks. He had a couple sacks that he had in some games where he missed them, had them and missed them. 8 QB pressures. So you don't see a lot because he didn't play a lot. But if you lose a Robert Quinn and you don't address that in free agency, you're going to have probably a Dorrance Armstrong Jr. being one of the first man up if nothing happens with this thing with Randy Gregory. And I don't know about y'all. I don't feel good about that. Not saying I don't like Dorrance Armstrong, but he's an unknown. He's unproven. And you're going with the opposite guy. You need another guy beside DeMarcus Lawrence. You need that. That's why they went out and got Quinn, and they still have to figure that out about what they're going to do because I just don't feel great with a Dorrance Armstrong Jr. and a DeMarcus Lawrence starting at your left and right ends. What up, Tavis Banks? How you doing? Marvin Hargrove, what's up with you, big dog? Yeah, I mean, I feel like because he's a exclusive restricted free agent, Antoine Woods. But we'll kind of see I think they are going to sign him because I think it kind of maybe hurt him with the marijuana thing. He had a few injuries this season. I mean, let's think about it. He was undrafted anyway. He didn't get any time over at Tennessee. So I don't see a lot of teams banging down the door for Antoine Woods. So you're going to get him on a cheap deal. And he wants to come back to Dallas. He loves Dallas. I think he wants to stay his home here, and he doesn't want to go anywhere. I think he'd be a good backup, and that's where we're talking about how you got to get you a starter at that defensive tackle position. And that's why I feel like you really got to address that in free agency. Because like I said, right there with Dorrance Armstrong Jr., yeah, potential, but potential ain't helping right now. You get what I'm saying? Vato Soleus 01, what's up with you? Yeah, he's 6 foot, 318 pounds, and he is short. I stood near him. I don't even think he's 6 foot personally. I'm 6'1". I stood over by him, and I was a little bit taller than him. So, I don't even think he's 6 foot for real. And even though he's 318 pounds, it's not like he's that big bowling ball guy. You can put a couple guys on him and push him out the way. Now, is Twaka a beast? Yeah, I love Twaka. I love his attitude and everything. But he just doesn't have that size every single down where all game it's eventually going to wear down in the third and fourth quarter and you get those big yards. Whereas when you get a guy that's a 6'5", or a 6'2", or 6'3", 340 pounds, you can rotate. But that big boy is really going to shut down a lot of those running lanes, and it's going to help your linebackers, which LVE and Jalen Smith need. Jalen Smith and LVE need a fat boy. You get what I'm saying? They need people to keep those guys off of them. And how do you do that? You get you a nice, agile fat boy. You don't have to get a fat boy that can't move because there's guys that we're going to talk about that can move. But you have to get a fat boy in that middle. Draft a guy, and that's maybe like they were talking about Justin Matabike or let me think about some other guys. Let me get this list tag on it. See here. Let's see. Let's go to some of these free agent guys that we're talking about. Let me get some of these guys first, and then we'll go with free agents. So you got Dorrance Armstrong Jr. How do y'all feel about Dorrance Armstrong Jr.? I'm going to ask you guys, how y'all feel about him? Y'all feel like he can amount to anything? I'm asking you guys, y'all think Dorrance Armstrong Jr. can amount to anything, or is he just going to be, well, you know what, just another guy they drafted and just really didn't pan out? Or do you think he can actually break out a little bit? I love it. Tavis Banks, you like him? Stevie Mac 23 says he's a solid backup. Give me your thoughts on Dorrance Armstrong Jr. What's y'all thoughts about him? He's a backup Gambino, you think? Not a starter? Let me get y'all thoughts. Dorrance Armstrong Jr., tell me what y'all think about him. Yeah, I think we all kind of like the potential. I don't know if he's a backup or starter right now. He looks like more of a backup because he didn't take the next step. They were trying to I feel like they were trying to get him there, like trying to, okay, Quinn's here, we want you to come as the next backup and boom, do your thing. Just didn't seem like it materialized. So I think this year is where we're going to see if he is a true just backup player. That's just what he is, or can he break out? So we'll see. It's going to be tough. I like Dorrance Armstrong Jr., but like y'all, a lot of y'all are saying as well, I need to see more. But we're going to go to this guy I've been killing. I haven't been trying to kill him, but, I mean, what are we going to do? What are the Cowboys going to do with this dude? Mr. Tyrone Crawford. That's a talk in itself. $9 million on the books. 31 years old, just came off surgery, missed the whole season. He's been having some injuries the last couple years. Did have a career year in 2018, 4.5 sacks. Hasn't been really his fault that they moved him back and forth from end to tackle. His best position was that 3-tech. That's where he got his big contract from, for real. And I like Crawford when he got drafted out of Boise State, and I thought he was going to be an up and comer. They were hitting him with the all under 25, and he was on there back in the day. And he was doing nice. But we know what Tyrone Crawford is. His ceiling has already been met. He's not going to get any better. You know what Tyrone Crawford is. He's a hustle guy. He's a guy that can play multiple positions for you. He can play tackle. He can play in. He's versatile. He's a leader. The team loves him as far as the leadership and things of that nature. But you're making $9 million, dog. And when you look at these other defensive tackles out there, no. So I've heard that he said he's willing to take a pay cut. But how much of a pay cut you going to take? Because at the end of the day, are they going to have Tyrone Crawford next year? Probably not. So why not save the money this year? Now, why you wouldn't is because, well, we don't have anybody in free agency yet. We didn't get somebody, so we're going to just kind of hold on to him because we got too much uncertainty with the Tristan Hill and these other guys. We got too much uncertainty. What do y'all think about Tyrone Crawford? Should you bring Tyrone Crawford back? Would you bring Tyrone Crawford back? Okay, let's say he takes a pay cut, and let's say he's making $4.5 million. Let's say he drops down to $4.5 million. Tyrone Crawford, $4.5 million. You want Tyrone Crawford back on your roster? Let me see his cap hit. Give me 1 second. Tyrone Crawford's cap hit. Let's see. If they were to cut him, if they cut him before the post June cut, they're gonna save the $8 million. But his cap hit is $9.1 million, 4.19% of the cap. He's got 1.1 in dead money, so they would have to release him before that June 1 so they could recoup that bread. But are y'all cool with him taking a pay cut and coming back? So I think it looks kind of mixed 50-50 on Tyrone Crawford right now. I'm just kind of good on Crawford, but I understand if a vet, but go out there and get somebody else. Save that money. I'm sorry, it's a business, right? They do the same thing to me, but save that money and go out there and get you somebody, because we already know. I'm going to bring up another player. I don't have the picture for him, but we already know Malik Collins is gone, right? Malik Collins is gone. Okay, so that's why I'm not even bringing up Malik Collins or even really talking about him. Malik Collins is all the way gone. I don't see him coming back. I know he's going to want to get paid and he's going to want to get his money, and I just don't see the Cowboys matching any kind of offer that they try to offer him unless it's low, and he's not going to want to be low. He's going to want to get paid. So I think Malik Collins is all good as gone, so that's why we're not really talking about him. So that's another person on the influx that's out of there. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, see, I think a lot of y'all feel me. It's just time to move on with Crawford. Save that bread and get somebody else. Malik Collins, he gone. I would say cool on Tyrone Crawford. You get what I'm saying? So I'm cool on Tyrone Crawford. Save that money. If he takes a pay cut, that'd be great. But I still want somebody else. Now we're going to go some of these guys that are unknown as well. Joe Jackson. What do y'all think about Mr. Joe Jackson? Great potential, huge unknown to me. Great potential, good size, 6'4", 275 pounds. I think he's going to get bigger. He has that type of body frame to get bigger. He looks like he can get about 290 at least. He's a big boy. Come from the U, always give them guys props. I think Joe Jackson has a future. I like Joe Jackson. For some reason, I just like him. I feel like they should really try to see what they got in Joe Jackson. I do really like Joe Jackson. I don't know why, but something about him I really like, and I think if he got opportunities, I think he can make some plays. I like Joe Jackson. Tell me your thoughts on Joe Jackson. I like Joe Jackson. It's just something about him. Maybe it's because he plays for the U and I automatically give those guys respect because they played at the U. But I like him, and I want to see. I think he has a good, bright future, and I think we'd be sleeping on him. He's one of them guys that's not the most super athletic guy, but even when he was at Miami, I think he had an 8-sack season. Just motor is crazy. Great attitude. Just always after it, never giving up on the play, always going after it. And I think that's what I love, relentless. He's very relentless. When I watched his college tape at Miami, he was relentless, great attitude, just fiery. I love that. I love that kind of passion. I think he has that passion. I think that's what I really like about him. I feel like I see a passion in him, and I feel like that I love players with passion. You feel me? Y'all like Joe Jackson? Tell me your thoughts. I'm cool on Michael Bennett, Stephen Arthur. 34 years old. He's going to want to get paid big money. He's not going to want no cheap contract. He's going to want to get paid. And I like Michael Bennett as far as the player, what he brings. But like I said, 34 years old. Had a pretty good season with Dallas. What, he had 5 or 6 sacks with Dallas. But them, I know this is being trivial, but them damn offside penalties, dog, were maddening. They were really pissing me off, and I think that was indicative of him not caring about the staff. Because you just don't keep on jumping offside like that belligerently. And you know what I'm saying? I just feel like you weren't even fearing or worried about them coaches. You were just doing what you wanted to do because you felt like you were Michael Bennett and you were only playing half a season anyway. So where did you really care? You get what I mean? But I'm cool on the Michael Bennett thing. I just feel like that time is gone. It was great for a half a season to see if you could possibly make a run with him. That didn't happen. So in my opinion, just move on. Yes, Randy is still on the team, but from what I hear, he's in limbo. Oh, I'm getting to Daniel Wise, big dog, Mr. Dan Lee. I'm getting to Daniel Wise here in a second. But we all kind of agree. We like Joe Jackson. We like the potential. We all can kind of agree on that. Now here's this guy. Here is this man right here who we all love to hate right now. I don't even think anybody loves him right now. I don't think nobody loves him. The world is against him. I mean, even the picture that I have, the body type. Um, when I was at camp, I can't lie and say I didn't like the pick. I thought he was going to do something. I like the potential, 6'3", 308 pounds. I can't lie. The red flags about you're not starting. Your junior year, senior year, you playing the whole new staff says you have an attitude problem. You're low key lazy. Yeah, red flags. But I guess Rod Marinelli, who we all know he ain't developing the best young talent, and I don't know. I guess I fell for it a little bit. Oh, he's in the hotel right now working with Rod. He's doing this with Rod. Was kind of happy, but then when I actually went to camp and I saw him, I was like, I don't know, dog. I was just looking at him. He just ran too hot and cold, man. Just too hot and cold. He didn't look strong enough. He was going against guys, and when he was going against Frederick and Zach Martin, they was low key bullying him. But he had good quickness off the ball, and you could see potential. And I really thought he was going to get some work. I think he came in with higher expectations than he probably should. You already had a Malik Collins there. You had Antoine Woods there, so he wasn't probably going to start. He was going to be a backup or a rotational piece anyway. But to only have to play 11% of the snaps and only be active 7 games is crazy. So Tristan Hill a bust, or is there still hope for this kid? And when I had Bobby Belt on the show, he called Tristan Hill dead man walking. So what that means to me is that if they're trying to do any kind of trades, he's going to be one of the top people that are going to be dangled. Do you think that the Cowboys staff will actually say, you know what, we're going to give him a second chance and we're going to see what he can do? Or do you think the Cowboys like, we're kind of going to just do our thing and see what we can get for a Tristan Hill? Yeah, definitely. That strength and condition, I definitely think they're going to work with that. They're going to have to because you play defensive tackle. But I'm definitely cool on, if there's a trade available, Jamal Adams, if it's still out there or anything else that they could dangle and he could be somebody you put in there, I'm not going to be mad at that. I'm not going to be like, oh, damn, they gave away Tristan Hill. I'm not going to be mad at that if they put him in a trade. But if they don't trade him, this boy better be playing damn near every snap. That's all I know. You better be playing damn near every snap. You're the second round pick. But I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. From what we've seen of him, do we really think we can count on him 16 games this season from what he looked like last year? That's Tom Sullivan then would really have to do not a miracle job, but damn sure close because he'll just did not look good. He had a couple spurts where he got off the line like that Bears game, had a couple good times off the ball, but other than that, he was getting pushed around a little bit, and I don't know if there's a future. And now that Rod Marinelli is gone, I wonder if they're like, you know what, you can go with him. Yeah, I know. You know what I mean. He can't play every snap. I know that, but he can play a lot of snaps. He can play if you're playing the 3 tech and you're a starter. You're going to play a lot though, and it's not going to be this situation. Hopefully that you have with Ryan Marinelli is rotating you every 2 damn plays, and you can't get your feet wet or get your feet under you because you keep getting rotated. So if he's going to be that guy, and if they had drafted in the second round and they were putting him to be that guy, he's definitely going to play a lot. But I don't know. I don't know what's in store for Hill. I just feel like everybody is down on him. The coaching staff, I never heard anybody saying any glowingly things. Even Willie McClay said about him, he said that, we'll see. We're hopeful. We're hopeful that Tristan Hill can get in. He can show what he can do. When you're saying you're hopeful on your second round pick in the second year, you're hopeful, that's not a ringing endorsement to me. Now let's talk about a couple other players before we talk about some free agents and I get up out of here. All right, so we talked about a couple other guys. Eastside Harold, I think you mentioned it. What's up with you, dog? Anyway, Christian Covington, Kerry Hyder Jr. Thoughts on these guys? Kerry Hyder Jr. I would like for them to bring back, and they got a kid, Justin Hamilton, that they signed as well. I believe they got him off the practice squad from KC, if I'm not mistaken. Justin Hamilton, defensive tackle. But, we don't really know what he's going to do, or if he'd just be a rotational or a fringe player or anything like that. But we're talking about Kerry Hyder Jr. and Christian Covington. I was really high on both those guys when they came over, because Covington played pretty good in his part-time work. You should know that. Eastside Harold, he was with your boys with the Houston Texans. I think he had 4.5 sacks in limited duty. When you got J.J. Watt and you had Clowney over there, you're going to get some reps. But we didn't really see a lot from him. I think he had 1 sack this season. Kerry Hyder Jr., I believe, had 1 sack as well. But I like Hyder because he was versatile. Versatile on the roster. Neither one of them cost a lot. I think they were both like $1 million, 1.5, both of them. I think they'll both be offered contracts. They will be relatively low because I don't think there's going to be a huge market considering what they did last year or what they didn't do. So I don't feel like there's going to be a huge market. So there'll be a window where they can sign with the Cowboys, and I feel like the Cowboys will throw a little offer out. I don't feel like they're going to highball them. They're definitely going to lowball them, and we'll see what happens. I wouldn't mind if either one of them came back as backups, but if I had a choice between the two, I would go with Kerry Hyder Jr. I like him, or Kerry Hyder Sr. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's junior or senior. I apologize. But I would go with the Kerry Hyder over Christian Covington for me. That's for me. I like Hyder better than Covington. Your thoughts on this? I'm going to ask y'all. A lot of y'all down with me on keeping Hyder. I like that. Yeah, Dre the Great. Covington did disappoint. I thought he was going to do more. Yeah, I feel you, Jop, on Tom Sula. He likes them grunts. Yes, Stevie Mack. I was just, you know what? You must have been in my head because that's the next thought that was about to come out of my head was that he's one of the main dudes. Because I don't know about y'all. I get hella frustrated when I see our defense or any defense that doesn't try to strip the damn ball. Like, if you are gang tackling, sorry about that. Internet was acting funky, y'all. Apologize. I'm back, though. Apologize about that. The internet be acting funky out here. But, y'all cool with Hyder? Let's jump at some of these free agents, man. Now, this is what you get excited about. This is what you get excited about is these free agents, man. We're going to jump right here right quick. Where are we at? Okay. So, free agents. Obviously, we talked about my number one guy. I've been on his train from day one. I've been wanting him from day one, is Mr. Jordan Phillips. 6'6", 340 pounds, 10 sacks. Oh my gosh, man! He played at Oklahoma, so I got to see him because I'm a Texas guy, so I got to see him firsthand. That dude is just, I want him so bad. That could be a guy that you get him. Woo wee! If you get him, you feeling great. Like, okay, now we can get, and then we can talk about some of these guys that are going to be in the draft. Then you can look at some of these guys in the later rounds when you can get a guy like that. That's where I say, release a Crawford, get that money, and go after a dude like that. He's my top dude. He's my number one guy. Now, I know people have mentioned Chris Jones. He's going to cost way too damn money. He's going to cost way too much, okay? The last contract for, and this is, I'm getting this from my guy, Boss Cowboys. His guide is absolutely amazing. It's well put, and it's amazing. It's what you want to see, and it's what you want to know. It's these players that you want to see. But $4 million last year, and Sportac says his market value is around $6 million per. For 27. Make a ploy with him, Dallas. I know Buffalo is gonna go after him and not let him try to escape, but make a ploy for this dude, man. They can afford him, dog. I love him. Who are you talking about, Dan Lee? Are you talking about? Shoot, I would play him like a David. If I was a 3-4, I would move him around. I'd play him over the center and the nose, and I'd be playing him on the outside because I think he could rush the passer too. So I play him in multiple positions. So Chris Jones, I don't think that's going to happen. Another guy that is somebody we can keep an eye on, that Toby Rohr, I'll give him a shout out. He mentioned him as well. Vernon Butler from Carolina, 26 years old. Last contract, $2 million. 6'4", 330 pounds. Okay, let me start back again. Jordan Phillips, 6'6", 340. Vernon Butler, 6'4", 330. 6 sacks season, 33 tackles, 14 games played. Once again, I love you, Boss Cowboy, with this hellified information. But that's a guy that's not going to cost you a lot of money. And what do the Cowboys love doing? Being bargain basement guy. They don't like spending that cash. They don't like going out there and Stephen Jones saying we ain't going to overpay for regular players. If you're a regular player, we ain't going to overpay you. So you know what their mindset is. But if we're looking at that right there, okay, those are guys. Jordan Phillips obviously is probably going to command a little more. Vernon Butler, he's affordable. Now, people have been mentioning DJ Reader. If you're still in here, East Side from your Texans, I don't even think that's going to happen. Last contract was, what, $11 million? Contract value, he's going to get paid, and I don't see the Texans letting go of him. They'd be silly. 6'3", 347 pounds? No. Okay, 52 freaking tackles? You serious? What? At 347 pounds? That's who you want. But the Texans will be foolish to let that man go. So I don't even talking about him because I don't even think that's what something would happen. Another guy that's been mentioned, Danny Shelton. Last contract, what, $1 million last year, played with the Patriots. I feel like they'll probably re-sign him. But he's a guy, 27 years old. He's not going to cost you a lot of money. 6'2", 345. Fat boy. We getting the theme here. I'm staying around 330, 340. You get the theme here? I want fat boys. I want big boys. I want guys that can hold that point of attack and let these linebackers be free and clean. Guess what? Jalen Smith is a whole lot better when people ain't touching him. You feel me? I don't know what's going on with LVE with that neck, but they're a lot better when they don't have to worry about offensive guards peeling that second level and putting their hands on them, and then they can't make tackles. You need them big boys up front, okay? You need them big boys up front. So the Cowboys, to me, these are guys you have to look at, and these are guys that you can afford. You got the cap money to do it. These are guys you must look at. Another guy that you can keep an eye on. Where it is, right here. From the Detroit Lions, Ashawn Robinson. Ashawn. Last contract, $1.3 million. You can afford him. 25 years old. 6'4", 330 pounds. 40 tackles. 13 games played. Look at him. What is the theme here? Fat boys. What are the sizes we talking about? 330 and up. We need one of them guys. We haven't had one of them guys in forever. And Tom Sula likes them guys. He was building something really good, even though the Redskins weren't doing great over there. I mean, you had a Jonathan Allen, you had Montez Sweat, you had who was another? Who else did they have over there besides Allen and Sweat? They had somebody else. Oh my God, he's on the tip of my tongue. And then they might get Chase Young. Who's the other dude with the Redskins that's in the middle besides Jonathan Allen? Gosh, down in his eyes is slipping me. What up, Tyrone? See what y'all got to say. Yeah, Verner's going to be cheap. Oh, hey, ho, a $2 holla from it's your boy D. White. What's up with you, dog? Appreciate you. Yeah, Ashawn Robinson, I'm telling you, these are guys that the Cowboys can afford, man. Cowboys must go out and do this, okay? No, not Kerrigan. He was another young guy. Yes, Deron Payne. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, it's your boy D. White. Appreciate you. So I named 4 good guys. I got another guy I'm going to mention. I don't know if this would happen, but Andrew Billings, Cincinnati, 24 years old. Last contract, $718,000. 6'1", 6'2", 328 pounds, 35 tackles. You can't afford him? Yes, you can afford him. You notice the theme here? Fat boys. Do you notice the theme here? Let me bring up another fat boy. He might cost too much, and the Baltimore Ravens are probably going to bring him back, but I'm still going to mention him because he's a fat boy. Michael Pierce, 6 foot, 340, fat boy, 35 tackles. Last contract, $3 million. I think he's going to cost some money, so I don't think the Cowboys are going to be in the running for him, and I think the Baltimore Ravens will be smart to bring him back. But guess what? He's another fat boy that you can talk about bringing in. These guys that I mentioned on here, you can work with these guys. And here's the good thing. Now, I know some people have brought up like Mike Daniels. I'm cool on Mike Daniels. I'm sorry. I'm cool. Mike Daniels going to cost some money. And I know the reuniting with Mike McCarthy, things of that nature. Maybe he look at that. I think Mike Daniels is like 31 years old now. I just think he's going to cost way too much money. He's not going to go for no low salary. He's not going to do no bargain basement. He's older. He wants to get paid. He wants his money, probably his last contract. So that's why I don't even think about talking about no Mike Daniels. Now, let's talk about some of these draftable players. So, let's say the Cowboys get one of these big fat boys. Let's just say, hypothetically, let's just play a happy, fun game. A happy, fun game, right? Let's by chance say the Cowboys sign Jordan Phillips. I just want to play a happy game. Let's play make-believe right now. Let's make believe that the Cowboys got Jordan Phillips, right? I'm doing cartwheels, backflips, all that good stuff. Now I'm feeling good, right? So now, I feel like your draft strategy changes. So where you're talking about having a Javon Kinlaw and everybody's wanting him, now maybe you don't have to do it. Then you could possibly trade back, get multiple picks. Now you don't have to maybe feel the pressure. And I really don't feel like, even though you got a Javon Kinlaw out there and he's nasty, he's still going to be a rookie. They need a veteran that's a dog starting and have a guy that you can still bring in the fold. And I think that's where if you got a Jordan Phillips, that's when a Justin Madubuike, if he's still around, that's who you go after. He's a relentless player, stays on a very good strength. Even though he's 290 pounds, he's very strong, very active, relentless motor. I love what he brings to the table. Now that's a guy that you can scoop later. You get what I'm saying? Or some other names that you can mention. Actually, my guy who I had on the show, Mr. Brandon Tucker, he's training some of these guys. One of the guys that he is training is Larrell Murchison. He's actually training him. Okay, and good measurables: 6'3", 291 pounds, 48 tackles, and just like Boss said, he is a sleeper. A lot of people aren't talking about him. Check him out. Brandon's got some good training tapes of him. Keep a lookout on him. But like I said, Nelly Gallimore, um, Alika Fotu, Fat Boy. Okay. Now there's another Fat Boy that may drop in the draft. Okay, he may drop. That's a guy that you could possibly scoop up. And I don't know about you. I don't know if he's Samoan or anything like that. But them type of guys are always good in the pros, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they Samoan or their heritage. But them big boys always seem good. You can snatch him in a later round. You get a Jordan Phillips, you can still snatch him. Ain't nothing wrong with getting a couple Fat Boys, is it? Now you're feeling better. Now you don't have to worry about going after a Covington. You can get the Hyder. You can re-sign an Antoine Woods. You feel what I'm saying? Now you're feeling good if you can go that route right there. But Aliki Fortu, that's another guy that you can keep an eye on. Yeah, I really feel like they're going to trade back. I really feel like it's going to happen. Yeah, I like, and it's just something about those guys, man. I feel like they do good in the pros, and the Cowboys really need something like that. They really need somebody to really hold the fort down in the middle. Hey ho! I got a $1.99 from Mr. Robbie Ray for Get to the Combine Fund. I appreciate you. You've been supporting the last 3 shows, and it is going to that for sure because we're getting to that. And I'm supposed to be learning this week about the combine. So once again, football gods, hear my cry, football gods, because we need to get there so y'all can get that good ass stuff so we can see what's really going on. But that's my kind of thoughts tonight. Did the quick rundown. In closing, we need to get back Robert Quinn. You feel me? The Cowboys need to re-sign Robert Quinn, or if they don't, they better have somebody in free agency as a defensive end that can scoop up. I think they're still going to draft a defensive end in this draft. There's nothing wrong with getting another young guy in the fold, more competition. You still don't know what you have in Dorrance Armstrong Jr. and those guys, so I can still see them drafting a DN. But I really feel like they got to make a strong push for Robert Quinn. You got to keep that combo right there with him and DeMarcus Lawrence. Like I said, they said Tristan Hill's a dead man walking. I agree. They need to get somebody up there, and they need to sign somebody on the front defensive tackle in free agency this year. The Cowboys really need to do it. If they want a bargain shop, they got guys we just mentioned that are big boys, that are young, and that they are very affordable. And the Cowboys need to do it, and I think they need to move on from Tyrone Crawford, save that money, go out and pluck you a guy as a defensive tackle or 2. No, just get 1, and then you draft another guy, and then you're going to be okay. And you still have wiggle play, because then you re-sign Antoine Woods. He's a good parameter right there. You have Daniel Wise, who has been mentioned on here. He's another young boy that was on the practice squad I love Daniel Wise. I'm sorry I didn't mention him, but Daniel Wise motor is ridiculous. He had a motor like no other in that camp. 6'2", a little undersized because in the position he was playing, but you couldn't tell by the way he played, and he could be another sneaky player. But once again, he's still unproven. Once again, he went undrafted, so you don't have any proven players. That's why it must be prevalent for the Cowboys to get somebody. And I feel like they're affordable that you can go out and spend some cash on one of these guys. I don't feel like you should just get a guy in the middle, bargain guy. I think you should get a guy who's really going to be effective in that middle, is going to make some teams pay. And I think that's what you really need to do. So I hope the Cowboys go that route. I hope they hit somebody up hard in this free agency. It'd be a shame for the Cowboys not to touch the defensive tackle position in free agency year. It would be a shame. I would be frustrated and a little bit upset if the Cowboys didn't do that this year. If they hit that this year, you can still draft someone in the second or third round as far as that goes, and you'll be okay. And you still have guys around them. But they must sign somebody in free agency at the defensive tackle position. It's too rich, it's too good, and it's too affordable, and they have the cap money and the cash to do it. So Cowboys got to make it happen. So that being said, appreciate everybody in the feed. Thank you for everybody, the great comments, the donations, super chats, the love we showed. Shout out to everybody. Don't go yet because I got a couple announcements. Do not go yet. I got a couple announcements. So shout out to Derek Clegg, Blake A. Juwan James, appreciate you, big dog. Tyrone Church, 43 Flex. Robbie Radford, Tavis Banks, Eastside Herald. What's up with you? As I said before, Bobby M. Jerry Knight. Who else we got in here? Jerry Pertit. It's your boy D White. Juwan James, I think I did mention you already. Stevie Mac 23, my dog. Vato Saleas 01, thank you for being in here today. Dan Lee, appreciate you as well. Thank you for every Gambino, my dog, as usual. Appreciate everybody who was in there. But got an announcement tomorrow. We should be going live on our first show at DC4L, DC4 Download. Got my guy, me and Skywalker Still. He's going to be on my production on the 1 and 2s on that show, and then we are tentatively starting tomorrow. So as soon as I get off here, I'm going to get in the lab and get a real good, what we call a little setup going down. But please jump in there. It's going to be strictly on Facebook. So DC4L, if you're not a member, it's a private membership. Get on in there. It's about 135,000 strong. We'll be doing our first show. I'll be doing my first show in that group tomorrow. We're trying to have it lit live. As I said, it's going to be all kind of games, prizes, giveaways. They are really on that type of thing. They really like a lot of involvement from people in the group, and we're going to make it about the group. Definitely going to talk about Cowboys news, as always, and what goes on with the Cowboys, but we're going to make it about the group and the people in the group. So anybody who's in the feed, please jump in there so we can just really make it about you guys. And I think it's going to be a really big thing. We're going to really watch that thing grow and really going to be really excited about that. So please, if you're not doing anything tomorrow, please tune in to our first show. Tomorrow should be DC4 Download. Myself, I'll be the host. Skywalker Still will be my production guy, and we'll be knocking those shows out, I believe, every Tuesday. We're going to get the time. We don't have a time set. We'll get that time figured out, but then we'll just be rocking with it every week all the way into the season. So you're really going to like that because there's going to be a lot of things that's going to be for the people, and it's not just going to be about, me or anybody else. It's going to be about the people and the people in the group. So I think it's going to be really exciting. I think you guys are going to like it. So please get in there, show your support. You see the Patreon below. If you'd like to become a proud member of the Patreon, I actually had 5 people come from DC4L become proud Patreons. I've been telling you I'm going to update it, but, I still got to get some videos and some things together for me to update it. But please, if you'd like to support Silver and Blue Nation, Big Game James, there it is right below you where you can see. And like I said, you can start as low as $1. You can go high. One of my highest Patreon is my homegirl, Katina. I can't tell you what she donates, but it's very significant. And she's been a rider for almost a year now, consistently. And I really appreciate the love because it has helped with equipment, getting to games, things of that nature. Just believe, and I'll tell you this again one more time, that just believe that the money that you donate, either through Super Chat or becoming a proud Patreon. I'm going to be starting my PayPal here in a couple days as well. You can donate to my PayPal. We'll put that up on the show. It's basically, like I said, to make this thing great, to make this thing better. Hey ho, Martin Huete, 199 holla. What's my thoughts on Jordan Love? I like Jordan Love. Would I draft him? I don't think they should draft a quarterback. I think they can pluck somebody. I don't want to see Cooper Rush any longer. I can definitely tell you that. But I definitely feel like they can pluck somebody on later, and I just don't want to see them drafting a quarterback with those 7 picks. They're not, maybe they'll gain a pick back. I like his ability. I think he'd be a good backup, but I don't want them spending a pick on a quarterback. I just don't want to see that. DC4L download. DC4 download. Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. It's your boy D White. Juwan James, how's producer G going? I don't know. I don't really talk to him no more. I'm just keeping it real to you. Hopefully he's doing okay. Hopefully he's enjoying that Cali weather, but I haven't really talked to him. So hopefully he's doing his thing, and I wish him the best. That's what I can just tell you. Hey, appreciate you. Thank you for just subscribing. Thank you very much. And please, while you're here, if you're not a subscriber right now to Silver and Blue Nation, please be a subscriber. I told everybody I have a goal of being about 5K by the time the season's over. I think I can get higher than that. but let's make this thing great. I posted on, and I'm gonna get off with this. I posted on Facebook that we got some guys, myself and some other people that do the YouTube thing, or are actually in are in media of the field like myself. That we're doing some things behind the scene to make this one kind of an independent network. So Rome wasn't built in a day, so it's not going to happen in a day, and things have to materialize before that to happen. But things are working, and we're getting excited about it. So that's why we're really pushing the people, really to support us like no other. The DDPs, the Dallas Prospects, the Law Nations, the Boss Cowboys, the Skywalker Steel. There's numerous other people out there, but we got a vision of what we want to do as far as an independent network, and I really think it's going to explode and do its thing. But we can only do this with you guys. So the more you support this thing, the more you make this thing grow, the more that we can push this out to our potential investors, sponsors, things of that nature, and we can go ahead and take a hold of this and grab it by the horns and make this thing great. So if you're not a subscriber yet to Silver and Blue Nation, go and subscribe immediately right now. If you like the content, go subscribe. It's gonna be a lot more. My boot thing, we just got my all 22, getting the all 22 together. As far as my videos, so we can so I can do some more breakdowns. I haven't did breakdowns in the last few years, just because I really didn't have it in front of me, but now I do. So I want to really dabble into that and really show my breakdown side of what I can really show and do. And I think you guys will like it, because I'm going to try to be in depth as I can and just show my style of it, as opposed to everybody else. Everybody else has got a good style. Vach, Law, them guys are beasts at what they do as far as those video and player breakdowns. But I've done a little bit of it myself, and so I'm just really going to try to push that as well out here. So hopefully you'll like what I bring to the table. Hopefully you'll like what I'm showing. And like I said, let's continue to make this thing great and get in that DC4L tomorrow. If you're not a member, get a member, so we can have a good time tomorrow and talk some Cowboys football, and you guys can get some of these great prizes and enjoy, maybe get some jerseys, football, helmet, who knows, possibly tickets. They got player discounts, so many good things that are going to be happening in that group, and I really want you guys to be a part of it. So get up in there, please become a supporter, and like I said, one more time, I know I sound like a broken record, but let's make this thing great. Appreciate the love from everybody that they showed. I love every one of you guys. I appreciate you guys being in the feed, always in the comments, always giving great feedback. And I just always want to make sure I say that every show, so I can always show my appreciation to everybody shows me love for what I do and the grind that I'm doing. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. And I'm going to continue to work my hardest every single day to try to bring the best I can for you guys. And so when you turn on YouTube or anything like that, it's a channel that you'll like to come to and enjoy. So thank you very much. Y'all have a good night. Salutes. Peace. Big Game James. I'm out.